Former Trump fixer Michael Cohen wrapped up his second day of testimony. The prosecution's star witness describing the web of lies that Cohen says he spun to protect the man that he admired more than anyone, Donald Trump. Cohen even expressing remorse to jurors on the stand today, testifying, quote, "I regret doing things for him that I should not have, lying, bullying people in order to effectuate a goal. I don't regret working with the Trump organization. But to keep the loyalty and to do the things that he asked me to do, I violated my moral compass and I suffered the penalty, as has my family." Our panel of legal experts is back with us now. Michael, a moment ago, Kelly was describing how Americans love a redemption story. How compelling do you think Michael Cohen's is and his apology to the jury?
Well, he certainly is trying to come across as redeemed and legitimate, but he also has financial motives. He's admitted on cross-examination he wanted to monetize that relationship. You know, he's turned into actually a little bit of a mini Donald Trump, selling whatever merchandise he can. I was waiting for him actually to throw that line back to the defense lawyer on cross, but he didn't. Is he redeemed? Perhaps, but when he tries to say that he regrets all of these things he did lying for Trump, he also lied for himself. He lied in a bankruptcy proceeding. He lied in his taxes. That wasn't for Donald Trump. He lied to cover for his family in the medallion taxi business. Donald, it seems like Michael Cohen, he may be redeemed, but not fully so.
Marcus, I want to get your thoughts on something, because Cohen testified that at one point he told David Pecker, the publisher of the National Enquirer, that then Attorney General Jeff Sessions was, quote, going to take care of them after this bombshell 2018 Wall Street Journal article into AMI. Cohen testified, quote, "David was very concerned because it was going to affect AMI. It was going to affect him. I ultimately told him after conversations with the president, do not worry. We have this thing under control. It's going to be taken care of." Quote, "I told him that matter was going to be taken care of. And that person, of course, who was going to be able to do it was Jeff Sessions." Michael Cohen saying here that after conversations with Donald Trump, they would be protected by the sitting attorney general. That is a stunning moment.
Yeah, it's stunning and it's salacious, but I'm not sure the jury is going to talk about this fact in the same way that we're talking about it here. I think the way that the prosecution is going to argue it, and the way that I hope that the court instructs the jury to really consider this evidence, is to show, Donald Trump's involvement with the cover-up. I think that is the real evidentiary value for the falsified business records charges here. Now, for us, look, it is a sensational fact. It is a pretty it was kind of jaw-dropping, right, to hear someone say that out loud. But again, this is a business records case dealing with hush money payments in the cover-up to help interfere or to help Donald Trump's chance in the 2016 election. And I think this goes more towards the post-election, I got you type evidence. I'm going to take care of you. Donald Trump's going to take care of you type evidence, and less about, any of the political kind of takeaways we can take from that fact.
But doesn't that also go kind of to the bigger picture of things when you look at it from like a 36 angle lens and you think about, okay, so here he was in the office, presidential office, allegedly, and making these statements that the fact that he would go to no means to make sure that no one knew about what happened with Michael Cohen, no one knew about what happened with Stormy Daniels, and that he was intimately involved in this transaction.
Yeah, if I could interject also, I think Kelly has a good point there. At the end of the day, this whole thing with the AG and Costello, who was the attorney who was injected to represent Cohen, and Cohen didn't completely trust, who was a friend of Giuliani's, all of this Costello issue and the issue with the AG was all part of the trying to get Cohen comfortable not to quote unquote flip. And why don't you want people to flip? You don't want them to turn against you. So there could be an effort here that this is a consciousness of guilt on the part of Donald Trump to try and make sure that Michael Cohen towed the line and stayed loyal and not, as his book says, disloyal, which is ultimately what he did.
was going to say that's exactly how I think the prosecutors are going to argue it. I don't think it'll be a Jeff Sessions type argument. I think it'll be more of the acts of the president after he was elected, after he's sitting in office, to continue making sure these payments did not come to light, even after November of 2016.
Kelly, I wonder how you think the jury might process some of the support that the former president has gotten from fellow Republicans. Yesterday, you had Ohio Senator J.D. Vance in the courtroom. Today, Doug Burgum, the former presidential candidate, a potential VP pick for Donald Trump. Governor of South Dakota was there. Byron Donalds, a congressman from Florida. Do you think that the jury is swayed at all by seeing some of these familiar national figures in the courtroom lending their support to Donald Trump?
Well, when we think about the trial, we also have to think about it's like theater in a sense that people are playing a certain role and acting a certain way, and the jury are making the ultimate determination, and they're watching people's interaction. They're watching who comes in, they see who comes in, noticing the people, but ultimately, at the end of the day, they have to look to the law and the facts and the evidence presented in the case and say whether or not the state proved every single element of the case and whether Donald Trump is guilty or not guilty of the crimes.
I just want to clarify. I think I said he was the governor of South Dakota. I'm going to have the folks at the Dakotas upset with me, lashing out on social media. He's the governor of North Dakota. Michael, what kind of impression do you think that might make with the jury?
It can backfire. Jurors, if they know who these people are, I don't even know. Michael Cohen does. He's testified in Congress. He's probably very familiar with who they are. But as far as the jurors are concerned, they may think they're being pressured, or maybe they think, oh, they're trying to. But look, Alvin Bragg sits in the first row, right? He's the DA, and they may know who he is too. It is a public world. It's a public courtroom. People have a right to be there, but you have to be very careful that jurors, for we trial lawyers, Kelly and Marcus, jurors see everything. They react to everything. It's an incredible system of justice, how perceptive they really are. And you got to be very careful what you do. As Kelly said, theater is there, and the audience, they're really watching. They're watching the play very carefully.
Marcus, how do you think this might weigh on a jury?
I agree with Michael. Again, one, if they know who these individuals are from Congress, I'm not sure that it will push the needle any type of way towards guilt or maybe a hung jury. What I will say is, and this is going on a different kind of angle of this, is that, look, I sat on the committee on Jan 6 and watched members rush to support Donald Trump after we presented what I found to be pretty voluminous evidence of pretty clear motive to attack and to delay the certification on January 6th of 2021. And so now that we see members doing the same when it comes to this case and making statements during breaks, maybe I'm the least surprised man in America to see this happening. I'm not sure it'll have a real impact on the jury. But look, if anything, I think it might backfire as maybe like trying to intimidate or influence rather than just relying on the facts at hand to show that you did not commit a certain crime.
Kelly, I am curious about the way that Donald Trump has used statements from some of the folks even visiting him in court outside of the courtroom. It seems like he's very eager to cite some of the things that folks have been saying that are supporters of his MAGA movement, supporters of him. Is that a way for him to try to sort of skirt the gag order?
He can try, but if he does, then we can say that most likely he won't be successful. But, absolutely, there was some saying that some of the people that were making comments outside of the courtroom were using his language. And so if he's in some way influencing them or giving them statements, then some could say that that's a way around the gag order, and potentially the state could bring some more charges because of the gag order.
Kelly, Marcus, Michael, we have to leave the conversation there. Very much appreciate you sharing your perspective.